Ever felt guilty for taking time for yourself or saying no when you're running on empty? You're not alone. So many of us, especially in midlife, have been taught that self-care is selfish. But here's the truth. Self-care might be just the key to thriving, not just surviving. Today, we're flipping the script on guilt and redefining what it means to put yourself first with our guest, Lesley Logan. We'll explore how prioritizing your well-being creates powerful boundaries, prevents burnout, and transforms every area of your life. If guilt has ever held you back, this episode will inspire you to embrace self-care unapologetically. And to guide us on this journey, I'm thrilled to introduce someone who truly embodies this message. This is the Pursue Your Spark podcast, and I am Heike Yates. If you're feeling stuck in midlife wondering, how did I get here? You're in the right place. We're all about real transformation, not quick fixes. My mission is to help you break free from limiting beliefs and outdated habits using fitness and wellness as tools for change. Each episode offers practical strategies for turning complex challenges into simple, actionable steps. So bring your yes, I can attitude and earbuds, and let's explore how you can truly thrive in midlife. Hey everybody, our guest today is Lesley Logan, a second-generation certified Pilates teacher, author, co-founder of onlinepilatesclasses.com, and the host of the Be It Till You See It podcast. Through her work, Lesley helps people rethink what's possible for their bodies and minds, empowering them to show up as their best selves daily. Lesley, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited for our conversation. We had such a good one together on mine. That's so just another continuation.
It's just an extension of what we already talked about. And it's always fun to have a conversation with another Pilates teacher where we indirectly talk about Pilates, and we're not teaching you directly Pilates because that's a topic for a different time. But I always want to know what, and our guest especially, what ignited your spark?
I mean, I feel like there's got to be a couple different sparks, along the way when you think about it. So I do think that my first Pilates class ignited a spark in me that had nothing to do with Pilates. I didn't even think I would teach it, but it just really helped me connect to who I was and what I wanted, and allowed me to understand that I wanted to move and just follow a whole different path than what was presented for me. And then I think in helping people feel better, I think that ignited my spark. So even if Pilates was ever taken away, I'd still have a career and a job, because really my Pilates is my vehicle for the message, but really the message is still the same, which is you've got to prioritize yourself. You've got to move your body. That's literally what keeps you going and keeps you loving and keeps you, enjoying the life that you get to live on this planet.
So when you think about your very first Pilates class, because I can remember mine like it was yesterday, and we all have these different experiences. Tell me or tell us what it was like.
Oh, so I went kicking and screaming. I didn't really want to go. I just thought that Pilates was like an infomercial workout that wasn't going to do very much. But I wanted to go with a friend. I wanted to meet a friend. I wanted to make a friend. As a coworker invited me, and I was like, okay, well, if I go with her to this, then maybe that will be the first thing we do together, and we can do other things after that. But actually in that first Pilates class, I felt parts of my body I never felt before. I did the 100 and I did the roll up, and some things were so challenging for me. And here I was, a personal trainer, an athlete. I couldn't believe that some of the things were so hard, but possible, but a challenge. It just was, I couldn't even think of the rest of the day. I could only focus on what I was doing. And as someone who's kind of in my head a lot, got a lot going on, it was just really nice to have a break from all of that. So yeah, so then I left the class, didn't even really make the friend. She and I continued to work together, and we talked about going to Pilates class together. That was all we ever did outside of work together. But I really found a friend in myself, because the more I did Pilates, the more I got to know me and what I wanted. And so yeah, that first class, I just was obsessed. I signed up for a membership so I can go every day.
Oh my God. We had two totally different experiences. My first class was, I didn't know what it was. And at the time, I was a bodybuilder. Also, like you working in fitness and all this. And I went to this class. Maybe I was just exhausted from my training, but I was like, man, are they actually going to do something? And I fell asleep at the first class.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, also different styles. Some of them do go a little slower than others.
And I said, geez, what is all this Pilates thing about? I'm like, that was whatever. And I pushed it away for many, many years. And then it came back into my life. But it was just when people say now, really? You fell asleep? I'm like, I thought it was the most boring thing on the planet. But I was also in a different headspace in my life. And like you said, you learn something about yourself, which I think is so true about Pilates. As we're starting to breathe and move and pay attention and are more mindful about our bodies, all these things that may be hiding inside ourselves are suddenly exposed. What was one for you that you could pinpoint or that comes to your mind?
I think that I had this, I still do because I'm a recovering perfectionist, but I feel like Pilates forced me to stop finding perfection and start finding connection because I could look like I was doing the exercises, but that doesn't mean I was connected to the exercises. And so when I had to find the connections of the exercises, I had to stop looking like the pictures or looking like what people were doing. And I had to let go of the perfect picture that I was thinking I could get away with, and that's how I got through most of my education and careers. I could just look like I was doing it right. And you're pretty much right most of the time. But in Pilates, that's not how it goes. It's not about what it looks like.
I'm glad you said this because so many people out there seeing us Pilates teachers, they see this vision of this beautiful dancer body. And
right. Well, they came in with that body.
Well, some people are born with this. And I keep saying some people are just born with that and they have long, lean bodies. And it's, air quotes, not their fault. It's just what they look like.
Yeah.
But people assume that this is when you do Pilates, this is what you get. And I think you get so much more.
Yeah. I mean, I think first of all, to all the celebrities and the models and the athletes that do Pilates and credit Pilates to what they do, I think it's really easy for people to go, oh, okay, I just have to add Pilates in and I'm going to look like them. And I think we don't realize that they are a model, they are an actress, they are an athlete because of all the other things that make them that person. Mm-hmm. And the science shows that it doesn't actually matter what your workout is if your hormones and genetics and your nutrition are not conducive to what you're going for. Any workout you do will not get you there. Now, if you have the hormones, genetics, and the food, and you add the working out in, yes, it can help. But we can't, just because someone's long and lean doesn't mean Pilates did that. We can't actually lengthen anything, right? I can't stretch your bones to be longer, the shape of your muscles, but we can affect the strength of your body and the mobility of your body and the longevity of your body. And I wish we could be more obsessed with that as humans, but that's not marketable. That's not what the editors want. That's not what sells the magazines. And unfortunately, just based on the quotes I'm being asked to give, our magazines are definitely going back to the 5 exercises that will tone your arms and your abs, And so, and if people buy those, then they will continue to go that way. And so I think if you get frustrated by everyone has to look a certain way, stop buying the things that have that stuff on the titles, because there is enough evidence that proves that the longevity comes from doing Pilates and doing other modalities like it that give you mobility and strength and stamina to stand the test of time, right? But you gotta, if you want the other stuff, you gotta look at the things that no Pilates instructor can help you with. So sorry.
Yeah, and when I look at your Instagram account, you're not just practicing Pilates. I see you do pull-ups, I see you do deadlifts, and real serious strength workouts. So Lesley's booty is not just perky because she's born with that. She does something for it. So if you look at her Insta account, you'll see that. And that's a whole package.
Yeah. I mean, I take the seriousness of lifting heavy weights, as a part of my weekly routine because it is so good for our bones. And, I also know, like, my dad is 72, will be 73 this year, and he deadlifts almost 300 pounds. He benches 200 something. Like, so to the people who say, like, when you're over a certain age, you can't do more than your body weight, you can't do this, I call baloney. And also, if you're been doing it before, just because the calendar changed one more day doesn't mean we take things away from you. But if you start doing things after a certain age, that's where we're limited in what we can do, because that's where what our scope and what the research shows has us like hesitating on how we can challenge you versus maybe what you could possibly do. So it's always better if you start things earlier. And so I'm starting lifting heavier. I started it in my 30s, and I'm going to do it as long as I'm allowed.
As long as you're allowed, and as long as your body can do it. And you always go through modifications and changes as we age. I mean, I'm 63 and I'm like, okay, what else can I do?
Yeah. Well, have you seen these 80-year-old women who are like doing pull-ups and deadlifts and crazy? I mean, I want to be them, and, so I'll be really honest. I'll be 42 on Sunday. We're recording this, right before my birthday. And, so I still have a cycle. So I very much pay attention to what's going on in my body, because like right now, today is not a day when I'm supposed to be doing HIIT and crazy stuff. So will I go to the gym? Absolutely. Am I going to take things slow? Yes. Why? Because if I spike the cortisol, it's going to affect my sleep. If I strain my body during this time, it's going to affect my hormones. And so we also have to understand that we can support our bodies, not just in like the looks and like the stamina of our bodies, but also like how we go through our life and how we support our hormone health. So I'm a really big fan of like Pilates. I get to do all the time because it's not going to affect my cortisol levels. But how I lift at the gym changes throughout the month based on where I am with my hormones. And that information I wish I'd had it younger. I only got it in my late 30s, and it was life changing. It made me go, instead of going, why can't I do this today? I could actually go, I don't do this today. I'm doing this instead. I could actually support my body with better choices.
Allowing yourself to give yourself those choices and prioritizing yourself, I think, is really key when it comes to all the aspects in our life, that you allow yourself to prioritize yourself, which then, of course, we're taking a lot of lessons from this, how to prioritize yourself. What is one lesson that you can think that stands out is when you decided you prioritized yourself and forgot about your perfectionism? What was one story that you can remember?
One story, I don't know, but I can say like to this day, if I like don't prioritize myself first, I have a rough day. Like, for example, based on the schedule and what I could do today, my morning routine got halved, and I still did most of my morning routine, but I knew all of it. And so I halved what I do to prioritize myself. And guess what? It matters. Like, it has affected the way I feel about the whole day. I'm like, why are all these meetings on this day? Why did the meetings happen? Because you get resentful when you don't prioritize yourself. You get frustrated more quickly. You have less grace for others for things to go wrong. And so I can be kind to myself and go, look, you have your priorities today. So all you do is do the best you can and don't worry. And then reevaluate how this happened for tomorrow. Like, that's all you can do. You can't go back in time. So I can be really kind to myself, but I can say, like, I notice more when I don't prioritize myself, how that affects my day, than when I do. And I think that's why people have a problem with it, because it's not like when you prioritize yourself first, all of a sudden unicorns and rainbows come flying out of the sky and someone's celebrating you and it's a party. No, actually, life is just a little easier. It's a little nicer. You sleep a little better. You have more love to give. You have more love to receive. But you'll certainly notice when you are not prioritizing yourself, because you will be short-tempered and frustrated.
And so many women have trouble with this and say, you know what? I can't be, which is actually the topic of our discussions today, is selfish. I am selfish. I can't do this. I can't prioritize myself. Everybody else has to do, it comes first, and I will come dead last?
I think it's incredibly selfish to put yourself dead last. Here's why I think that. First of all, you will then become a dependent on them later on too soon. There's enough information about women and dementia, and it's happening younger and all these different things. And we also know that once you go through menopause, within a couple of years, your heart health catches up to men's heart health, which is not awesome, right? So too soon, you become a dependent upon the people that you have been enabling this whole time. And that is selfish because now they got to take care of you while they're also trying to figure themselves out, right? So I actually think you're setting up everyone for success when one, you model what it's like to prioritize yourself first so that they can see that. Yes, they will have to learn disappointment. Oh my goodness. Like what the world would be a whole different place if people knew what disappointment was at a much younger age. And then two, your ability to be there for them in times of actual need is going to be more likely because you're going to live a much longer, more lively life. I don't want one of my parents to ever get sick. But here's what I can say right now, based on what I know of my parents. My dad's, like I said, almost 73. I have no worries about his health, but I have another parent who's only 62 and I'm very worried about their health. It is a whole different thing. And I am not in a place in my life where I can support their health issues and build my career. Like it doesn't work, right? So I think it's actually just very selfish to put yourself last. And it actually isn't allowing people to learn the life lessons that they need. And if you have a woman that you're raising, you are not raising her with opportunities and options. You're raising her with like, I can do this or I can do that. And that is a shame. And I think that's why that is not, I bet any woman listening would never want that for their daughters, you know?
I know so many of us can relate to this. You're fine 1 minute, then suddenly your belly doubles in size. You're bloating and in so much pain, you don't even know what to do. You're wondering, why does this keep happening to me? Or maybe it's the constant gas you're trying to hide, the sluggish heaviness after meals, or those frustrating days when nothing seems to move at all. You've tried cutting out foods, drinking more water, or ignoring it altogether, but the pain is so great and you just want to be done with this. It's draining, it's overwhelming, and you're left thinking, is this how it's going to be now in midlife? That's why I created Belly Bliss, how to combat bloating and digestive issues. The course will help you uncover the foods and habits that might trigger the bloating and the pain it causes. We'll focus on simple strategies without overcomplicating your life, and these strategies will make a difference. So you don't have to keep guessing or putting up with this. Let me help you feel good in your body again. Reduce the bloat. Click the link in the show notes to get started today. Yeah, I had a while back, my podcast's been around for 7 years. I had an episode that dealt with selfishness. And the feedback I got was like, no, we can't do this. We need to take care of everybody else. What are you thinking? We're meant to nurture. We're meant to provide. We're meant to
marketing.
Be the
all
mothers,
marketing.
Right? I know. I was like, maybe I'm thinking this wrong. Maybe because I'm German, I have a different perspective on things. But
I think you probably have a healthier perspective on things. I actually think that I read a book about a French woman, right? And a French woman is not a mother. She's a woman with a child. She's a woman with a child, right? And people can go, oh, that's really cold. And I'm sure that that the French and Germans could learn something about something we do in the States, right? But I do think that here's what I know. After World War II, they wanted women out of the workplace. So they started marketing beautiful family household sitcoms, Leave It to Beaver, where the wife was perfectly dressed and making all the food and caring for all the people and taking on all the stress of all of everyone. That was to make people think that that's what the job was. It was all marketing. And I actually believe that, yes, we are nurturing But if you've read the book Eve, it's the evolution of the female mammalian body. It is actually quite incredible what our bodies can do. We have a pitch in our ear that can actually hear things that men can't hear. And yes, it's so we could care for young kids, but also like we lose our hearing at a much later age. That means we can actually do things longer, right? Our legs are designed to have more endurance than men's. Men need breaks. We don't need as many breaks. And if we take a break, we could be used again, right? So like, these things that are natural to our bodies that make us superheroes, I actually think that you can be nurturing and you can be a badass somewhere else. Like, I don't think that you only can be for other people. And I really, really don't think that us putting ourselves in a hole of we're here to take care of others and that's our only job is conducive for anything, because some of the most amazing inventions are women who were like, there's an issue here and I'm going to solve this problem. And so why would we all be creative? Why would we have any ideas about doing more things if we were just meant to be nurturing? I just don't think that that's true. And so to the women who got mad at you, I actually think that I'm glad they got mad. I hope that makes them go like, what is happening to me? I hope it makes them think, because also like sometimes it's really scary to fight for another life. Like, what if you're not needed? Right? Like that could be very scary, but like also, what does that mean you get to do? You know, like, and also just because you're not needed as a beck and call person doesn't mean people don't need your love and your attention in other ways. I just think that there's different ways of doing it. And so I'm sure we're going to piss some people off, but I also just think that like the way that you want to live your life is fine, but that doesn't mean how everyone has to live their lives. And you and I have a lot of experience working with so many different women of different age groups and being in this industry for a really long time and different parts of the fitness industry. And we know that if you don't take care of your body, it doesn't take care of you. So period. It doesn't matter how much you loved other people. Your body's not going to go, oh my God, well, I loved so many people, so therefore I'm healthy. No, it's not how it works.
That's a very good point, Lesley. It's like my body's loving me back only if I give it a love as well. Mm-hmm. Very true. And that goes into also the category of self-care, because self-care, again, is another word that so many people poo-poo on as they go, self-care. You just want to go get a facial or go to the spa, which it's not.
No, so those facials and spas are like rewards, special treatments.
I just got one today. I'm like, yay.
Yeah. And also like part of maintenance, part of making sure you don't have skin cancer, like all these different things. So, but okay, so self-care, here's the deal. If you are financially in a bad place, if you are time spent, you got a lot on your plate. I know that there's like single parents or people who are taking on a lot. I know that there's people who have children with special needs. I understand that there's like, everyone has a different life. So here's what self-care actually is. And anything extra is what you feel you need. Sleep. Every single body needs sleep. How much sleep you need depends on you. There's lots of different ways to figure out what you need, but you need sleep and you need to figure out how much sleep you need. Movement. We all need to move our bodies. However you decide to do that, like I firmly like to think about moving my body with my cycle, but also if you are overwhelmed, just go for a walk. Walk every day, get your steps in. I know that they stopped saying it was about 10,000 steps that you need a day, but you need 10,000 steps in a day. Like, and I don't mean to make you feel bad, but like you don't realize how many steps you're doing in your house when you're cleaning up or like walking around the office. So like just get up and move around, right? And then fuel. Ladies, you need protein. You need more protein than you think you need. It's really hard to get in. If you're going to count anything in your life, count your protein, like make sure you're taking care of that. If that's the self-care you can give yourself right now because you think that you have a life that can't add any more into it, that is amazing. You will be doing far more than anyone else is doing. And then on top of that, if you added meditation or reading a self-help book or whatever, yes, all of that is true, but it's how you sprinkle that in is going to be up to you. But those three things are in your control. They really are. And if you need help, we have to normalize asking a neighbor, hey, I see our kids go to the same school. How about I take them on Mondays and Wednesdays and you take them on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Like, how can we switch on Fridays? Let's like plan out who's got these Fridays. Like you can plan these things. I'm telling you, I know that you're like, Lesley, you don't have children. I don't, but my neighbors do. And I literally watch every morning when I'm working out. I know what time of day it is because either one car is leaving to go pick up the other kids in the neighborhood to take them to school, or a different car is showing up. So I know that this is happening, and it gives some people just like, you have some mornings to yourself. It doesn't have to be the same thing every day.
Absolutely. That's such a good suggestion, because I do have children, and now I have almost 2 grandchildren. But I know we have a baby boy in February, so number 2 is arriving. And so now I'm seeing the flip side too of, having been a mother, having gone through as a single parent too. How do I juggle my children? How can I find time for myself? And back then, I really made it my priority to get my teaching classes in. To, as much as possible, to not be able to cancel for different reasons. Like, here, take the kids, I need to go teach a class. But it was my saving grace to get away from the situation, to be me and to have fun. And, which is, I like to add to your list of 3, is to be in a community.
Yes.
So important. We share stories. We talk about it. And as I said, I just got a facial today, and the person who does my facial said she just played tennis with her friend, and they talked about underwear that keeps riding down or riding up. And we know that from Pilates, because underwear goes all kinds of places sometimes, or you just don't show up with underwear. But she said, it was such a fun and silly conversation. We were laughing. We had a great time, and we prioritized fun, excitement.
Yes. Well, I think we got tired. People are they don't realize, like, yes, it's hard to leave the house. I get that. I work from home. Like, it's not easy. But also, like, I've never regretted, like, I might like go, okay, here we go. Got to go to this dinner. I'm really tired. But once you're there and you're around people, you're like, oh my God, I'm meeting people who have same things in common with me. Oh, I'm meeting so-and-so. Like, when I first moved to Vegas, I am very much an introvert. Like, I don't really actually care if I go anywhere, but I actually needed a hairdresser. I need a new facial place. I need a place to work out. Like, I need to know these things. So I made it a priority. I went to this locally owned shops, and I went to them and I said, hey guys, like, I'm sure some of your customers do these things. Like, I'm looking for these things. And they were like, oh, actually, so-and-so and so-and-so. And by the way, we're having a birthday party next week. Why don't you come? So I went to this birthday party. I didn't even know the birthday person, right? Because it was the husband of the store owner. And I made friends, and I got into community, and it's not easy to participate. I travel a lot, but also, like, it's really nice to know that they're there. And it's part of the self-care, because they can help you with things that you need and you didn't even know it. And it could be something that they want to give to the world and you need it, and that you can receive that gift. So I think we all are too isolated. We think we have to do everything on our own. And if we ask for help in any way, it makes us look like we're not these amazing people. You know what I've never thought when people ask me for help is like, oh my God, they can do this themselves. I've never thought that. I've always thought like, oh, actually, let me help you. Like, actually, you should try this over here. Like, I've never been like, what a weirdo. They couldn't Google that. Like, you know what I mean?
I know. I think it's also part of the nurturing part. And you and I are around a lot of people when we coach and teach, and they have all this information too. And they have all these things that we like literally Google with the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. And so we become this hub of information. To share.
Yeah. I think that those people like us are drawn to jobs where like we can just connect people all the time. And I also think like, I think it's very easy for people listening to put pressure on themselves or obstacles in a way, be like, oh, I'm not that outgoing. Well, I don't know anyone. Or it's really like, just try one thing. You don't try all these things. Like if you're doing the walking every morning, you're focusing on your sleep, but you haven't been in community, go do that. We don't have to get it all right all of the time. And our needs are going to change with the seasons, with age, with a new grandkid coming in. All of a sudden, how you take care of the other grandkid and like everything changes a little bit. It's easy to, of course, you're going to add it in and you're going to figure it out, but like it's going to change a little bit. And so, I think that's why I'm so grateful that I learned how to be a recovering perfectionist, because it's like, I can feel my feelings and go, okay, well, how can I make it better next time? And how can I give myself grace this time and keep going?
Yeah. And be taking care of yourself and be selfish and take the time to sort it all out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't pop on the top of your head that's like, this is exactly what I need to do. But I like your idea of, oh, how can I make it better next time? Oh, I missed it this time. For instance, a story comes to mind when I just talked to my brother. He told me that my mom and his wife of 10 years never really connect. My mom always makes it believe that occasionally they're really connecting and really close, and which I know it's not true. But he said that his wife had hoped to get another mom with our mom and have somebody else to talk to in that age group aside from her own mom, which made me reflect on my relationship with my son and my daughter-in-law.
Oh.
And I never thought of it that way. And I said, yes, she's married. Yes, she's the mother of my granddaughter. But I never thought of actually letting her come closer and connect more deeply with me in all those 7 years they've been married. And I just had this aha moment. So I reached out on WhatsApp and I said, hey, how's acupuncture going? How do you sleep? What's going on with this and this? And she instantly responded, which was fantastic.
I love that you did that. And I also think it's so cool. Like you could take someone else's thing and you can use it to reflect on your own thing. And you could have also easily been like, oh, I am doing all those things. Wow, that's so cool. I'm glad, but also to be like, I'm going to try this out and see what it's like. And I think it's to your story's point, like also the fact that she responded right away. Sometimes we think we're bothering people, so we don't.
Yeah.
Most people want to feel seen. That's what they want.
Yep, absolutely. So, Lesley, will you tell our listeners about the tips that you can give them that are revolving around the SPARK method? Strategic, purposeful, authentic, resilient, and or knowledgeable.
Okay, strategic.
Yep.
Here's what we're going to do. You are going to take a blank piece of paper. I like a piece of paper. I like taking a legal pad, turn it horizontal, and draw lines so you have 7 columns. Okay. Then I want you to put in the time you're going to go to bed and the time you're going to wake up. Those go in first. Do you see how self-care got sent in first? The next thing you're going to put in is the things that you want to prioritize yourself with. Like, is it a workout or a walk or whatever? Something about you. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is going to be the priorities in your life. So this is going to be a partner or kiddos. If you want to pick them up from school or you want to have a date night, those go in. Then the work goes in. That's how it goes. And I know that not everyone can create their own schedule, but just see if you can make a dream schedule, what would happen? And if you're like, oh, wow, actually 4 of the days I can actually get what I want in the morning. I can't do what I want in the afternoon. Cool. Then you have a project. You have a way of either figuring out a way to get the afternoon, or you can at least pat yourself on the back. Like, I got the mornings. You didn't have that before. And then you can keep your eyes open for opportunities to get the afternoons. You'd be surprised. Maybe in searching for community, you find a mom who's like, hey, can you take my kids in the morning and I'll pick the kids up in the afternoon, or vice versa. Like you never know. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you can't actually like see the opportunity that exists. So that's my thing, is like grab a calendar, have an idea, and it'll allow you to know, like, when am I saying yes to Doctors of Women's? When am I saying yes to coffees? When am I saying, I have a girlfriend who's coming to town today, and she lands like around 5:30. We go to the gym at 6. And I was like, great. I know you check a bag, Uber to the gym. We'll pick you up from there. Like, as opposed to, oh, okay, I'm going to miss my gym appointment because I'm going to pick my friend up. No way. That's going to make me resent what time she picked to fly in. She is going to be fine. If she is an adult human being who can get herself into an Uber safely to my thing. So if we have an idea of what our ideal schedule is that includes our self-care, we then have a map and a framework of when we can allow people to participate in it.
I love that idea, because most people would say, here is my to-do list.
Oh,
right? Most people are like, okay, here's my to-do list. And I may not have even prioritized it. I just scribbled it all down. I like the time frame. I like that work didn't come first. Self-care. Be selfish with your time and the things you want to do. I love that.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I know that people who work for someone, businesses pick hours to work 9 to 5, right? It is perfectly reasonable to ask, hey, I know that my job requires X, Y, and Z. It requires to be working an assistant to you at these times. Is it possible if I actually come in an hour earlier so I can set everything up for you, and then I leave an hour earlier, which will allow me to pick my kids up? They can say no, and that doesn't mean that they're a jerk or unwilling. It might be that they can't do it, but you can't ask, but you have to, as a person who owns a business, you have to come with the plan and you have to sell it to the person. How is it going to benefit them? Because it can't just be all about you, but you can do it. And you'd be surprised what people can do, right? My assistant was like, hey, I actually want to do X, Y, and Z with you. And I said, okay, well, here's what I need you to do to show me that I can even pay for that, And she's like, okay, great. And so it's communication is really the thing. But I think it's all possible. And I also think that just because it's not now doesn't mean you shouldn't know what you're trying to work towards.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And ask, please ask. Don't be afraid to ask, wondering what the outcome might be, and already in your head picturing that they say no.
Right. Well, then you just manifested that. So you got
there you go. Lesley, final question. What are you most excited about right now?
Okay. So I think that I'm most excited about, aside from turning 42, I love my birthday. I think birthdays are amazing. I am going back to Cambodia, where we have a house and I run retreats. I'm going back there in a February, which is the first time I'm going back in a February since 2020. And so because of the pandemic, we were there when the pandemic started. And it was a very cool experience, very weird, a little uncertain on the way in, but it was a very cool experience to be in a country that lives mostly outdoors, that didn't have any COVID, and nothing was shut down until while we were there. Everything. Wow. So it was like this weird experience. But because of how long the country was shut down and everything, I've only been able to go once a year since 2022. And that was in October. And I actually love the February time. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see the sunrises in Asia in the February, because they're more purple and orange. I'm excited to show this place that I love with other people. I'm excited to share the experience with people. So that's what I'm most excited about in this moment.
Oh, I love Cambodia. We went once, and the sunrise over Angkor Wat was just breathtaking.
I know. I really wanted to be there for the spring equinox. One, everyone and their mother is there, so it's not exactly, and it's also too hot. So we try to stay towards the end of February, early March, because I got to be really honest, no sunrise is worth that temperature. So I always just angle the camera, and then the sunrise looks like it's over dead center. People don't know how to handle that heat. Now, the Cambodians are wearing long sleeves and pants everywhere, so they're used to it. And it's really funny because, I was like, oh, it's a perfect temperature outside, and they're in sweatshirts because they were cold.
Oh my God. Lesley Logan reminded us that self-care isn't just about pampering yourself. It's the key to showing up as your best self every single day. From setting boundaries to letting go of guilt, self-care creates the energy and focus you need to thrive. If you have a question about staying consistent with your healthy habits or creating a fitness routine that fits your busy midlife, send it my way and I'll answer it on the air. The link will be in the show notes. In our next episode, we're tackling those moments that test you the most when life feels completely out of control. Resilience isn't about having it all together. It's about finding strength in the chaos and taking even the smallest step forward. If you ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or like you're barely holding it together, this episode is for you. It's raw, real, and it could be the shift you've been waiting for.